Have you ever been to a place that has caffeine and Rex appeal? We have, and you will too once you start going to Hidden Grounds, the backyard oasis in the heart of downtown Wilmington, one of the most phenomenal coffee shops Ann and I have ever been to, and we want you to go there too. There you will feel the vibe and the energy, all created by Taylor, Josh, and Caitlin, who are the founders of Hidden Grounds. And look, there's just not another coffee spot like this in Wilmington. The branding is just ridiculous. The people are incredibly courteous, but most importantly is, again, that backyard oasis where you could bring your dogs, where you could chill, you could sit in the egg chairs, you could even record a podcast out there like we did with them. So let's get caffeinated. Here we go. All right, welcome back to Cape Fear Calling. We are here at Hidden Grounds, and Anne is going to be on camera, or behind the cameras today. But thank you all three on your day off on Tuesdays for being here. By the way, I thought about it on the way here. Why does Wilmington businesses have like the weirdest days off, like Mondays and Tuesdays? Why did you guys decide on Tuesday, by the way?
But I don't know, honestly. I felt like Tuesday was a day that was a little bit more mellow. It's it's not quite midweek yet, but there's a lot of other shops in town that people are able to enjoy, while we're closed on this one day off. So we tried to look at that so that, people wouldn't be starved if they're caffeine too much with a couple shops closing that same day.
And on Monday, we felt like it's a good day to get back into the swing of work. So we were like, we have to be open for all the people going to work on Monday.
Of course.
But yeah, Tuesdays, I feel like, especially downtown, there's a couple businesses that are closed. So
It's a super random question. It's just, I know on Mondays we're like, we're going to, they're closed. We're like,
I will say though, once we grow our team a little bit more, we will end up opening on Tuesday. We'll be open 7 days.
Sweet. So I don't think you guys are going to have a problem with that, as we'll find out. But I forgot to even say who we're here with at Hidden Ground. So first we have Taylor, and then we have Josh, and then we have Caitlin. So you guys are UNCW based, some of you, and then North Carolina State, I believe it was.
UNCW as well.
Oh, okay.
Yep, all three of us.
Are you a North Carolina State fan?
I am.
Okay.
I lived in Raleigh for a little bit. I went to Wake Tech for a couple of years, and so all my buddies went to NC State. So I'm a big NC State Wolfpack fan.
Gotcha. Okay.
We used to go see him all the time in Raleigh when we were in high school. So just a little background.
Yeah.
So Taylor and I are best friends from high school. We cheered together, did the whole thing. One day I was like, you should just hook up with my brother. Essentially, is what I said. I was like, you should just, whatever. I got the hookup for Josh.
Yeah.
But so after that, they ended up dating down the road, which was crazy. But we would go see him in Raleigh all of the time, and it was really fun for us to. That's when we were like our band, and we went to school together. The rest is history. So we've just been.
Well, I'm gonna get into some background facts about each of you.
Yeah.
Then I'll get into like how business started. But So Exit Games owners here. So there's one on Front Street. Exit Games is, I hate to say it, but like kind of an escape room thing. Like that's just easy for people to listen to. So Exit Games. So you have one on Front Street, Clearwater, Florida, and you got semifinalists for an award recently, and then another one's coming on Princess Street.
We have one existing.
Oh, it's already there.
Yep. So we've got the two downtown and then the one in Florida.
Gotcha. Now I think on your profile somewhere it said you've done over 350 of these kind of deals.
Yes. So Josh and I both have. So we play them together, and Caitlin's a newfound escape room junkie as well. So she's definitely trying to catch up for sure. But it's our favorite hobby in the world. So we've been very fortunate to play all over the world and
I know.
continuing to
it's
keep that
for
passion
you.
alive.
You travel to do them, or I mean, I guess you both travel to do them. But like, what's the farthest stretch you've been like? We're gonna go to Alaska to do it.
So we've played kind of all over the U.S. So I guess like California would be the farthest in the U.S. And then we've played a lot in Europe as well. So she used to have an internship in Prague. So when we were out there, we kind of bounced around and played some really cool games out there. They had some crazy experiences out there that I guess you can get away with over there. So we've played some wild experiences.
How many of them did you do before you're like, well, now we have so much knowledge and we see all the differences that like we should do?
Honestly, it was so we're big Red Sox fans. So we were up in Boston maybe like 8 or 9 years ago, and she booked us a real life escape room. We had played like the point and click games when we were younger, and after we walked out, we were like, that was the coolest thing I've ever done. So we just started doing some market research. I was still in school at UNCW, And I think just after doing research, I was like, I think there could be a market for this. So that's kind of how we got into it and opened our first location a little over 7.5 years ago.
I think perhaps it was about 20 rooms maybe that we had built by the time you had decided to open.
So now it's all market research.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
It's our favorite hobby, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've never done. Have you done one?
I think maybe once.
I've never. So I will have to give it a shot here.
Obviously, we're biased. They're very fun.
You guys are all similar in age, but like when you were getting out of college and high school and whatever, and you're talking about market research, like, did you notice that none of your peers were thinking that way? And you're like, well, that's kind of not what I want, to just go and do something regular? Or what kind of prompted this entrepreneurial spirit? And I think you were in hospitality for 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Actually, let's start there. Like,
Yeah.
how was that? And
So I love everything about like the hospitality, like just the hustle and bustle of everything.
Yeah.
And I did the 9 to 5, and
Yeah.
you know, don't get me wrong, I learned so much from doing that. I think it's important for people to, you know, do that and learn from it.
Sure.
But I always knew I kind of wanted to do my own thing, and I didn't know when it would be necessarily. Luckily, I had a nice nudge from these two because they'd opened a few businesses, so they knew how to sort of do that.
Yeah.
So without that nudge, you know, I don't even know if I would have done it. So
Yeah.
it's crazy. So they had that background of just like that business knowledge, and then I had the background of like the hospitality, excuse me, the service industry, all of that.
is it like what kind of hospitality? So
Yes.
like, you know, hotels, restaurants.
Yeah, so I worked in a restaurant for 8 to 10 years.
Yeah.
I bartended there. I started as a server. I moved up to like a bar manager. So I handled like a bunch of like inventory stuff, managed the bar, the clientele, all of that. So
You have to be good with people if you're a
yes,
bartender.
for sure.
Like,
It's so fun though.
Were you already good with people, or did you just get like enhanced to like master level once you're a bartender?
I mean, I've always been really good with people, but the tasking aspect of it is like you have to be on 24/7, and that's probably like my pride and joy, is just being able to kind of be all over the place all at once with a smile on my face.
Yeah.
So learning that has been just so fun for me, and
Yeah.
it's amazing.
She's a machine behind the bar too. It's really cool. We'll go in and just sit at her bar, and just to watch her back there, we're like, dang, you are killing it right now. So
It's just really fun too. Like you're interacting with new people every single day. You're not, and there's no harm in sitting behind a desk, but it just wasn't for me. I wanted to be, doing something that I enjoyed doing. And the fast-paced environment was just amazing. It's so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people always say when you're doing what you love, it doesn't feel like work. And there's some people who are like, well, but it's like, it's true, man. It's like, if you could do it forever and you skip lunch because you were doing it, if you forgot to go to the bathroom for like 8 hours, you're like, oh, like, I love this. This is what I'm going to do. Now, for you two, you were dating. She hooked you up. You were dating. And then you decide to do Escape Room back 2016. Or I'm sorry. Exit Games back in 2016.
yeah.
And like, how was that conversation? Like, cool, we're dating, but let's start a business together, because that's fun.
Well, it actually started, it was Josh teamed up with Kate and Josh's dad first to open up our first location.
Sweet.
So it was really those two
Is
who
your dad
were.
work?
No, he worked for Philip Morris for 30.
Really?
Yeah, he's
That's why you have
barber man.
Yeah, that's where
the guy.
our background.
It all comes
Yeah. So
Connecting the dots.
they really started it up because Josh was like, hey, I have this idea. Caitlin and I were both still in school. So Josh was the oldest. He was about to graduate. Kate and I were 1 to 2 years behind to graduating. So, he was talking to us about it. And Frank was like, well, he's a self-taught carpenter. He didn't have any sort of background in construction, but he is extremely talented just being able to, build things. So they teamed up to open up our first location, and I was serving tables as well at the time through college, and I would just come over and help them out every now and again. And Frank, their dad, would always joke like, Tay, like, you're gonna end up taking over for me. And I was like, nah, that's your guys' thing. And the more that I became manager and the more that I started on it, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with it. I loved it. And then when I was working at an internship in Prague, I was also doing like the 8 to 5 type of deal, and I loved it, but it made me realize, okay, this is not what I want to do. So that's where I grew more interest in having more of the business side of it. And then, fortunately, Josh and Frank were like, we want you involved. And so that made that transition very smooth. And then we just, started from there.
So then,
Tried to get her to tag along, couldn't get it to happen.
I wasn't into escape rooms just yet. but
So
Now,
then,
yeah, we got there.
Josh, when you guys were 3 years in and you guys opened a second location, why Clearwater?
So we had actually been looking to expand in similar markets. Clearwater actually wasn't on our radar. We were looking at like Savannah and Charleston, similar areas to Wilmington. We actually, Kate and I have family down in Clearwater.
Oh, gotcha.
So we had been going down there ever since we were little, like going to Clearwater Beach and stuff. And then I believe our cousin was getting married. And we just we were like, let's just view a few, spots. And we found one building that was built out like a maze. And then we walked out and there was like a penny on heads at the front door. And we were like, it's a sign. I think this is the building. And so we signed a lease, and that location has been, amazing for us. So
Awesome. And then I saw that one was like semi-finalist for something Choice Awards, People's Choice Awards, something like that.
We're very, very, very fortunate that location is very well received and recognized. There's a whole big escape room industry, which is funny for people that aren't really aware of it. You wouldn't really think that. But we're very fortunate that it is well regarded in that industry, and so that's really like our passion project is that location down there. Whereas our location here is a little bit more traditional, which we love, and then down there we play and get a little bit more creative and push the boundaries a little bit more.
So like that industry is kind of like, people don't know it's an industry or a big industry, but coffee is the complete opposite. There's coffee everywhere. And if I look at the Facebook page, it says this is a backyard oasis coffee bar, family owned and operated, serving caffeine and Rex appeal. And we'll get into the Rex appeal part in a little bit. But you guys opened not long ago, so today is almost December. Then you guys opened in September, had a ribbon cutting in October. But before all that happened, you found this space. And like, how does someone just walk around Wilmington and be like, I'm just gonna go check that place out, and especially not even know? I don't know if you guys knew this was back here. But all right, well, talk to me about how you found it and when you're like, I think it's time we do a coffee, please.
We had always loved this building because we've been, all of us were living downtown. We've been downtown kids since college, and then we had the businesses down here. So we always loved walking past it. And whenever we became aware of the backyard was the previous business in here was KTVM, really, really talented artist that had a ton of merchandise in here. And so every
print shop or something like that?
Similar. And so we would always come over here, support him, buy some of his stuff, and he would show us the backyard, and we're like, oh my gosh, nobody would ever know that this existed back here. And he had
Don't tell anybody.
he had so many really cool plans that we were really excited for. I don't quite think that he had the time to do it. So one time we were actually walking over here to purchase some merchandise from him and saw that the place was empty and there was a for rent sign. So immediately, I didn't even think about anything. I just pulled up my phone, called the number, and I just wanted to know more about the space, what it was leasing for and so on. And he answered the landlord and said, yeah, like, what do you want to do with it? And I looked at Josh. Caitlin wasn't with us at the time, and I was like, Josh, what do we want to do with it? And we were like, coffee shop, right? I mean, a coffee shop.
It wasn't even, we are looking for a place for a coffee shop. You found the place, and then the coffee.
I will say, like, the three of us, though, had talked about always opening a coffee shop, whether it was now or, 5 years down the road. So we knew whenever the coffee shop time came that Kate would be involved with us. So, once she got off the phone, we immediately called Kate, and we were like, do we want to just, take a leap of faith and do this thing?
So the location was the catalyst.
The location. Had it not been for us knowing about the backyard, we still always loved this building, but this was really our selling point, because especially if this was going to be our first time getting into this industry, we didn't want to bite off more than we can chew with the massive square footage for the building.
True.
And so we figured we could make something out of it. We always love a good do-it-yourself challenge. That's always been all three of our mindset. And so we had the decision. We were actively about to sign a lease on either third or fourth location for the exit game. So we had to make the decision, and we were like, Caitlin, if we're gonna do this, like, let's do it. And so we all just sat down together and we said, all right, screw it. Let's take the risk.
It was a huge learning curve. It was about a year and a half ago.
It was like July or August.
And we don't come from the coffee, background. So when we took the space, we were like, all right, guys, like it's going to be a massive learning curve, but we're going to do it. And I feel like we take pride in the whole, taking our time, doing the research, all of that. It took us a year to build this out. and we didn't want to shortcut anything. So I'm so stoked of how everything turned out, and we couldn't have asked for a better turnout. But
we took the blank shell on the inside, so that was a big overhaul. But we also did everything in the backyard, which is what also took so long. And it was also during the summertime, and we really wanted to be open during the summer. But now looking back at it, I think it honestly worked out the best because it finally started to cool down a little bit, so people could enjoy it. So you weren't dying out here, but
it was a hot summer. We stayed tan all summer.
So if someone's listening and not watching, and they walked into the coffee shop, can like someone describe what it's like on the inside and what you're going for, and someone explain what happens when you come up the stairs out the back?
Yeah, so we are big suckers personally when it comes to design for contrasting environments. So we knew that we really wanted our interior to contrast with our exterior. So when you enter into,
I didn't put that together.
Yes. So when you enter into our space, we have a little bit more of a dark and moody feel without it feeling too dark. Nobody wants to, if you're studying in particular or working, you don't want it to be too dark, but we did want a little bit of a moody atmosphere. When you're listening to our music, we have a very eclectic soundtrack. You can be listening to anything from, very hardcore rap to rock music or alternative, whatever it may be. And then whenever you transition to our back door and up our stairs is when you start to see it brighten up a bit into our very, very green, luscious outdoor space.
And you guys, I read somewhere, like, you had to do a ton of work back here, take things out, put things in. Like, what was that like?
Thousands of bricks and rocks.
A lot. It was a lot. But what's really cool about the space in general is what took us so long is every single thing we put our hands on. So we did a lot of the work, including Frankie, our dad, the Marlboro man. But from laying turf to doing the pavers, the stones, like the design, we pieced together every little thing. So it was a lot of long summer days out here, and we were sweating, but we got it done, and it was a lot of building pieces.
It was funny because the interior looked finished well before the exterior was finished. And so people would be walking by and be like, when are you guys going to open? Like, what else do you have to do? And we'd be like, do you want to peek into this backyard really quick? And they would see it and they're like, oh my goodness, now I see it, because it took so long. We would level, bring stone finds up, and then it would get washed out and washed out and washed out. So we had to redo it over and over again. But, we're very grateful for it because every time we take on a new project, we learn new skills. So we're very fortunate.
How many people can you sit in the back?
It's a great question.
So you got, like, if you're listening, I'm looking at a bench that they're sitting on. They're side by side, probably 5 more people there. There's chairs here. I don't know. It looks like a bunch. It's way bigger than it looks.
I will say we have continued to add more seating like every week or so. So when we first opened, we were super grateful to be extremely busy, and we were packed in the back, and we all kind of looked at each other just like, we got to find areas for our seating. One of our areas around the tree right here with the hanging swings, that's the one area that we probably, if the hanging chairs weren't there, we could have maximized more seating, but we really wanted those hanging chairs to kind of be like the focal point of that visual that guests could see when they walk up. So I don't know.
I would say 50 comfortably.
We've talked about like even adding like little like cushions for people to sit like on the chairs as well.
That's what she was saying, right? When we started, like, I would.
We've come back here though, and there's little kids and families just sitting in the turf, which is really, really cool to see. Just hanging out.
It's very. I was talking this morning. We're crimping, and there's a lot of coffee places around here. We've obviously all been to a lot of coffee places, and I feel like the norm is like this kind of quiet-ish, not necessarily serious, but quiet. Like, I'm getting you your stuff. People are on calls. People are studying and doing whatever. I'm like, that's not the vibe here to me at all. This is like, I would not come here to do work, and I don't even mean that in a bad way. I mean, I would just come here to kick it, like a run, just like we did, and the music was great. And I'm like, we should probably have you guys on the podcast. This is nuts. But we've talked about branding with Boom Pilates, or at least you have, Taylor. And the branding with the dinosaurs is really intriguing. And I think it was originally going to be like tiger, something tiger related, but like, talk to us about the branding aspect of it. Now that's a character that's part of it, but the brand itself is amazing. But let's talk about the tiger or the dinosaurs.
So we were brainstorming. We were actually in Florida at the time. We were coming up with a couple ideas. We had like a whole setup where we were just, writing down, just brainstorming, brain bubbles, all that jazz. And we came up with the tiger. We wanted a symbol to kind of, just convey our brand.
Yeah.
The tiger just wasn't it. We wanted it to be a little more, we like to push the envelope a little bit. And then we looked at the backyard oasis, and we were like, that's giving us, Jurassic Park, jungle. Let's do a dinosaur.
Yes.
And so we took it and ran with it. And, they're escape room enthusiasts, so they are really big on themes.
Yes.
So everything to a T, like every single detail matters, from like the pictures inside to all of that jazz. We have the details locked in. But in terms of our biggest like logo, I would say, is the cowboy riding a dinosaur.
Yes.
Our dad, he did work for Philip Morris for 30 years, so he was a Marlboro man. And they had he would bring us home vintage t-shirts and bags and all that. And the main one that stood out was the Marlboro man, which was he was on a horse, right? He was riding a horse. It was the coolest t-shirt, and we have some of those t-shirts. And I was like, you know what? I had this crazy idea that a cowboy needs to be riding a dinosaur. So we took it, ran with it. We got a designer to draw it up for us, and that is like our number one. I love that symbol.
Yeah.
So yeah, and everybody's been eating it up. They love it.
No,
Yeah,
great.
we were nervous. We were like, people are either going to be like, what the heck are these guys doing?
Yeah.
Or they're going to be like, this is really cool. So fortunately, it's been, people have really enjoyed it. So,
Yeah.
It's really been cool to see so many adults, not only like children, come in and they love it, and it's really cool for them to come into the backyard and the kids are running around looking at dinosaurs and the parents have like a moment of chill, but also to see so many adults come through and be like, guys, I dinosaurs, thank you for doing this. And it almost brings that child out of you again, which has been the coolest feeling, to see people appreciate that and to really like dive into that again and be like, yeah, you can have fun with this, we don't have to be grown-ups all the time.
It's cool. I mean, sometimes when we're here, we're like, oh, there's one. I didn't see that one. It's like, I just want to bring one from home and just be like, put it over there somewhere and be like,
we put like 30, 50 out of here, and then like I don't even know, there's like 3 left. I have just like a bag that we just keep replenishing out.
These guys, we have like 100 that we just got to put back up. They just go slashed.
It's got to be one of those, like, in Wilmington, how they have the like take a book, leave a book.
Yeah,
or whatever.
it's kind of that.
You'd be like, dude, you're gonna take one, great one.
A guest came through and had this idea. They're like, you should put kind of a little note on the dinosaur, and if somebody, takes one to like take photos and like post it with the hashtag around town, so that you can kind of see where the dinosaurs go and name each of the dinosaurs. So shout out to that guest.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great idea.
I love that.
Yeah.
So the location's perfect, and the inside and the outside are amazing. The branding is on point, and then it's like the legit part is like the coffee. You guys straight up said like you were not in the coffee business. I think you guys source out of Savannah or somewhere around there. But experimenting probably was really fun when you got your first espresso machines.
Oh,
It's espresso. I just want some public service announcement. I mean, my mom still says espresso. I'm like, come on.
Lord.
Like, you've been on this.
it slips up sometimes.
So, for the people in the back, it's just important that they know it's espresso. But you guys probably had to do a lot of experimenting, especially considering some of the items that I can say I've never seen anywhere else. So talk to me about the coffee. And one thing I do want to say for the listening audience as well, and for the test, there's been many times we've tried to come here and the line's out the door. And while the location could be good, if the product is shit, like, it doesn't matter.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like the coffee and the whole thing is good, but talk to me about the coffee and how you came up with some of the drinks you have.
Yeah. So I will say Kate was the mastermind behind the majority of our menus. That was really where, sometimes when we were building out, Josh and I would be focusing more on the physical build. Caitlin was in the back, like experimenting with flavors and different concepts. So we really have her to thank for being the menu wizard.
Nice.
But with that, it was a really daunting task, because not only did we want to, just serve good coffee, we wanted to do it right. We wanted to do it authentically. And there's such a wide array of how you can serve coffee. There's a more traditional standpoint, there's a more modern, there's waves, whatever it may be. So we wanted a really healthy mixture of the two. So we started off by going to Savannah to our roaster, who is Perk, which we absolutely love and adore. There's amazing. and we call it coffee school. So we started out with them. We did cupping sessions and just truly tried to take in as much knowledge as we could from them. And that's paired with tons and tons of YouTube videos, tons of article reading. And then, you know, there comes a point to where, you know, you can learn so much from the technical standpoint. And we had to give ourselves a little bit of faith and a little bit of trust to be like, okay, now we can make this a little bit our own. We don't always have to do it how everyone else does it. But one thing that is really important to us that is consistency. So when we're training our team, it's making sure that if I'm making your drink, it tastes the same as if Caitlin makes your drink, right? Josh makes your drink. And it comes down to your milk steaming, your milk temp, like where you're pulling your shot, your ratio, everything to ensure that you're having a consistent cup of coffee every time.
How much pressure was that to learn? I mean, if you're a mastermind behind it and there's coffee places that have been around here for a long time and you're like, well, like we have to bring it or else no one's going to take us serious.
Yeah, I honestly did not feel that way at all. Like it was so much fun to kind of just mess around, because I mess around at work when I bartend, just in general. I just, you know, whip up drinks randomly, but it was a lot of fun for me to just kind of, I wanted to provide a variety for people. So if I might not, you know, necessarily enjoy one flavor profile, someone else is definitely going to, and it might be just a completely different palate. So I wanted to bring that to the table. I'm really big into presentation when it comes to like serving the drinks. That's why we have the shakers and we, you know, strain drinks over a coffee cube. We wanted to kind of serve that aspect to the experience, because it's more like coffee cocktail. It's a bar setting to where, you know, when you walk into the door, you can see all of our baristas. You're not hidden behind an espresso machine.
That's a really good
We did it very intentionally too, for that reason. We really wanted, in a traditional sense, oftentimes, like Caitlin said, you know, they are working behind the machines. It's a little bit more
and the noise is a like that's just another layer. It's small, but it's another layer of distance.
Nothing wrong with that, but we intentionally wanted it to be a very transparent viewpoint. We wanted people to see every bit of their, you know, beverage being made from start to finish, and to see how the baristas interact with one another. We wanted to be able to communicate with our guests more, to where it's not just whoever's at the register gets to communicate with them. It's whoever's on machine whenever you first walk in, like, hey, how are you doing? And getting to see those people that are filtering through as well. For sure.
Josh, a long time, Facebook post from you a long time ago, and it was I love doing that research. I'll tell you, I'm going to tell you yours. Sorry.
Oh no.
I won't get back to the point, but I had to
We're on
do this because yours was it's from 2011, and you said it's a fact that 5 out of 4 adults have problems with fractions.
I said that, or he said that?
It was her. It was her.
I believe it.
Yes, it was funny. And it's 5 slides.
I see. It's true.
Some of yours. So the funny thing about this research, and I couldn't go back far with yours, but yours, both of you. Oh, it's so funny how Facebook was back in the day, because it would say your name and you're like, is going to the mall. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just so funny how social media has changed. But yours was Dirty Kids and releasing some of your songs. So you can go ahead and look it up. I'll link it in the show notes for you. But I was listening to a few of those. It was fun.
Definitely take a look.
But 5 years ago, just about 5 years ago, you were doing, you had some flyers or something. It looks like you guys were collabing with businesses around Wilmington for exit games. And you have one right in front of Bespoke. And I'm just laughing to myself because I'm like, I'm about to interview them, but I was like, Bespoke's been here for a long time. But like, for anyone who's been around for a little while, I'd be like, oh shit, like, who's this place? Like how funny is it to be like, now we are a place that is getting blown up on social, branding's great, line out the door, the coffee's vetted, and there's other existing, and I'm not saying it's competition, I'm just saying, like, how does that feel when 5 years ago you were just trying to get exit games off the ground, like really blow it up?
Yeah, it is very crazy. We're super grateful for it. The coffee community though is amazing. So we're friends with, you know, a lot of the places in town. So like Bespoke, for example, we know all the baristas in there. We know the managers. We're friends with all those guys. They come in here on their days off. We go in there on our days off. But it is crazy to think back to that, because we've always gone to Bespoke. Like that used to be like our study space, or whenever we were designing escape rooms, that's where we would go. So to see us now 5 years later to have our own space, you know, I don't think we expected it to be as crazy as it was when we first opened, you know, with the lines and stuff. So now it's just really staying relevant, doing what we can from an admin standpoint to really, you know, keep pushing the boundaries and keep bringing people in and keeping it fresh for people. That's ultimately what we want to do and make it a cool community spot.
Yeah, well, the Google reviews are in there, the Yelp reviews are there, the social, like, it's just incorporating. It really feels like three talents who's being like, okay, like, we're not going soft. And I love Bespoke too, but at the same time, like, there's limited seating for me, in my opinion, and I'm just like, okay, it's just different. It's kind of like that slower, darker vibe. And I'm not saying anything bad about them. What we've learned, and back it up on this podcast, is everyone in Wilmington supports each other. All the chefs know each other. It's like, it's super cool that that's like that, which is great. But here's a review from Yelp Elite, Madison from Charleston. And I always like it if it's from someone out of town. Cutest spot. Finally got to try this place out. It did not disappoint. Marlboro Man Latte was to die for. Highly recommend. Staff super friendly and helpful with describing the menu and providing recommendations. Their seating is an all outdoor in the backyard of this building. It's adorable, plenty of seating. You have to look down to it, sitting around everywhere. So like even the reviews are fantastic. This one is from Wilmington, another elite. She says, love a new coffee shop, especially when they're as adorable as this place. It's a tiny space when you order, so don't expect a big spacious area until you go outside. Something off the sides. And then the baristas are the nicest people, all caps. The girl who checked us out was so upbeat and sweet. Anyway, there's a lot of these. And this kind of goes to your point about the consistency. There's like one thing with the consistency with the, you know, like how something's being made or taste, but then the service has always been like pretty top notch every time we've been here. Talk to me about how you guys hired and just like are able to keep that kind of uniform. So
when we were building, so we had a few conversations on the kind of dynamic we wanted, and we wanted to build sort of our pillar guys to feel like, you know, they're a part of our family. And we stress from the very beginning, like customer experience. That's our number one. I would say, you know, the people that are standing in line, that might be their only interaction that day. So we want to make sure they have the best experience. They're feeling welcome. You know, they're spending time out of their day to be with you guys. So even just going above and beyond, asking how their day was, what's going on, where are you in town for a wedding? That's probably our favorite part of having a coffee shop, is that interaction with the community. And that's exactly why we wanted to open from the beginning. So when we were looking to build our team, that's what we strive to kind of, that's our main thing. You know, we don't necessarily hire baristas with background in baristas. We'd rather you have that ability to kind of connect with people.
So we're service. It's the most important thing.
Because I don't know if you've ever experienced this before, but I mean, coffee shops for some people can be a very intimidating place. It's not always something to where you come and feel welcome. It's, you know, it can be daunting. You don't maybe know what a lot of those things on the menu are, and maybe you're a little bit scared to ask if the person greeting you doesn't feel super, you know, friendly. So we make sure that it's very over the top. You know, guys, let us know if you have any questions. Like, we're here to help you. You know, it's never an inconvenience. It's getting to know you. What flavor profiles do you like? How can I best, you know, pair you with one of our beverages, and making sure that, you know, you get it the way you want it, because it sounds so superficial and silly, but I know for a lot of people, it's like if your coffee gets messed up, it ruins your day. It can like shake your whole mood. So making sure that people feel comfortable enough with us to make sure that they can communicate with us what they need is really important.
So we talked about some of the creations. Well, we didn't talk about. We know there's a lot. So let's talk about some of those, and then we usually kind of wrap with what your favorite drinks are, and then the last question will be, who should we interview next around here? But let's talk about what's on the menu so people know, and then don't forget the food as well. So what are some of the items on the menu, and then what's your favorite? We can go that way.
So we have a couple of our hidden signatures, which are just like our creations, from lattes to iced coffee cold brew creations. And then we also have a whole section of our menu that's shaken espressos. So kind of, you know, resorting back to like the bar setup, we wanted to shake the espresso, make it super frothy and delicious, top it off with some milk. So some of those are really all over the place in terms of, you know, flavor profiles, because we wanted to offer something for everybody. I would say our most popular shaken espresso is the salty dino. So that's a salted caramel shaken espresso, and it is delicious. You get your choice of milk on top. So, and then as far as the hidden signatures go, I'll let Josh kind of talk about the cold fashion is his favorite, his creation, and it's something that I haven't really seen on a menu really in Wilmington. It's our pinky up drink. So
if you like the taste of espresso, it's the most espresso forward drink that we have, and a lot of people order it. So on our social media, on our Instagram, we did a little behind the scenes of how it's made. So it actually comes with, an iced coffee cube in there. So it kind of has all the garnishes.
Single cube, like the
one big sphere in there, or block. But then my other personal favorite would probably be the liquid flame, which is our cold brew, and then it's topped with our vanilla cold foam, but then it has some fire salt on it, which has some ghost pepper powder in it. So it gives this little like kick of spice on the back end that kind of breaks the sweetness a little bit. So it gets you jacked up and it tastes good. So yeah,
it's funny because like you guys want to contrast the inside to outside, but the drinks all have like some pretty major contrast.
For sure.
Oh, what about you?
Yeah, so we also have, for those that might not be super espresso, preferred, we also have teas available. So not only do we have hot teas, we've got chai teas. And then my personal favorite menu item is our minty matcha. And matcha can freak some people out if they've never had it before because of the color. It's green. It's fresh up green tea leaves. But I will say, I don't mean to, be this way, but I do have 100% conversion rate. If somebody's like, I don't like coffee, I'm like, let me try this. It tastes like mint chocolate chip ice cream. It's delicious. My other favorite on the hidden signatures would be our Tyrannosaurus Rex, which is our remix to a Thai iced coffee.
Okay.
But we use it with a triple shot of espresso. It's a triple shot of espresso shaken with a little bit of white mocha, and then we top it with a layer of vanilla cold foam. So it's just straight to the point, but has a little bit of flavor to it. So that's what Caitlin's drinking right now, is we make probably oftentimes for ourselves. And then we also work with Pie Slayer, who is a local, two local pastry chefs. They're absolutely amazing, Lauren and Kayla. They have a storefront that's located right here in downtown Wilmington. And their big thing is they include at least a thin layer of pie crust to everything that they do. So we always have a rotating menu from those guys over there, and they allow us to get really creative with those offerings.
What kind of food would you have if I came in on a Wednesday? Is it depends? Or?
Yeah.
Anything from homemade Pop-Tarts. So our Pop-Tarts we usually keep on the menu every week, and then we'll do some like rotating. We'll do like a broccoli and cheddar egg bite. We'll have like a ham and cheese pie Danish, some open face fruit pie Danishes, depending on the time of year, the different fruits that they can get in. And all of them are they're really good.
Also, just so people know too, we do have we can make vegan drinks as well. So all of our syrups or flavorings in there are going to be vegan friendly. Especially one of our upcoming, we have our seasonal menu that's...
Oh, that's right. First time. This is your first seasonal menu. Let's hit some of that. And I'll make sure I get some B-roll.
I'm telling you, all I do for fun is I will research just different drinks to kind of make and how I can be just as weird as possible, but also I want everything to taste delicious. So the past couple months, I've literally just been kind of coming up with a holiday menu, and we have some fun ones. I'm very excited. My personal favorite is the banana pudding.
Oh, yes.
It tastes like banana pudding, caramely goodness. I don't even know how to explain it. It is a hug in a mug.
It's insane. We have our Tree Rex, which is going to be a twist on our T-Rex, but it's going to be more of a peppermint cold foam that's on top of it.
Okay.
We have our
Cindy
Lou Brew is our creme brulee latte. We also have our Sleigh Ride, which is going to be a white chocolate raspberry latte.
Yes.
And what am I forgetting?
So we had to look out for our vegans and our dairy frees. I love eggnog, but it hurts my belly.
Yeah.
So I found an oat milk eggnog, and it is delicious. So we're gonna have a latte that tastes like eggnog, that's dairy free. Yeah.
So if you're listening or watching, I'm sorry, but if this is a year from now, or if it's in the middle of summer, don't ask for these drinks. But if it's in the winter time, they're gonna be around.
But if we have it, we'll make it.
If they have us, they'll make it, and they're super friendly like that. So we love to get to know other businesses around, and sometimes we're just like, who should we interview? And if I asked you that, what are one or two places that come to mind for
the hat for sure.
Okay,
the
we got sent there. Who sent us there?
Dean
from Floriana told us. We went right away, and it's like,
love those guys. We're obsessed. Their turkey banh mi, I could eat it every single day of my life. They're mixo.
Okay, we'll have to do them.
They're amazing.
Very similar vibe, with a small building, and they pack a punch, so just squeeze.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Customer service too. Every time I walk in, I feel like the staff is so friendly, and it's very open face where you can see everything going on, and they're just so welcoming and good to go in there. And their sandwiches are ridiculously good.
No, they're fantastic.
Yeah,
do you have a place in mind? What's that? Tram yard?
We were just going to say,
what's his defense?
Yeah,
Yeah, Dram Yard is great as well. We go over there all the time.
Yeah.
When we were building out, like every time we would get off of, work building here, we would either pop into like Banter next door to us because we love those guys.
Yeah, actually, can you tell me about them? Because we don't know. We've done Dram Yards, but I felt like that popped up out of nowhere too.
Yeah, so Banter is owned by Amy and Glenn, and Glenn actually owns Duck and Dive, which is right around the corner as well. But they were building out while we were building out. It took them a lot less time to open their doors, but it's very cool in there. It's almost kind of speakeasy-esque in there. It kind of goes from the front all the way to the back over here, and they have a little outdoor section.
Is it a bar or food or?
It's a bar.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Cocktails, everything. And Amy's really, really great about like kind of changing the theme throughout every single month, depending on the holiday. But the baristas are awesome in there. We go in there all the time, and then they do something that's really cool. So every night or every day they find like a little golden rabbit that's like this big, an inch big, somewhere in the space. And it could be anywhere. It could be in like the nooks and crannies. People will bring out their flashlights and try to find it. But whoever finds it gets to re-hide it the next time, but then you also take it up to the bartenders and you get a cocktail.
Nice.
So very cool vibes that they got going.
Yeah, they have really good cocktails over there too. There's one that is like tequila Espolon with like a ginger liqueur, and it is.
give me a second.
They give me a second.
It's just
But they have a good mix of just like you can get a Bud Light or a Corona, and you can also get just like a craft cocktail.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool area over there. It's super like warm and cozy too.
Yeah.
There's couches set up.
Yeah.
So yeah, we love going over there.
What about you? Anywhere in particular you think about? Like, where do you go on your day off? And you're like, oh,
On my day off, I love
today.
K38 is my jam. Their margaritas are the best. Shout out to K38. Hairdresser. I've worked there for 10 years.
Okay.
So
you know Sam from Sabores? Or he was part of K38.
Sam from I love Sabores. Speaking of Sabores, I probably know him.
Wilmington.
But I am Team K38. I think they're the best Mexican in town. I will say everything they make is scratch. Like their sauces, their everything is just so good.
Sweet.
Where else in town? I love Sabores, ceviches, quipos.
We go to Seabird.
We've been on a Seabird pick. We do Monday oysters every single Monday. Actually, I'm gonna keep that a secret. Please, cut that part out.
Yeah. No problem.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we've talked to the chef there, but we talked to him face to face once, but I've not been able to get
Jay.
it.
Fun Bowl is great too. Tay and I go to Fun Bowl.
Yes, and there's
The ramen maybe once a week at
Where's
least.
that?
They're like 2 doors down from our escape room location on Front Street. It's great.
awesome owners over there. Honestly, downtown is just full of so many amazing businesses. It's insane. Like, it's so hard to name just a few of them because they're all awesome. And I love that it is very small business focused downtown. That's something a little bit unique to this area of town as opposed to going to Midtown or Mayfair area.
Yeah.
So we do love that.
Yeah, so we did this, one of our actual final questions that we asked, why Wilmington? You guys have been here, so it's like, it's kind of obvious, but the small business field is there. So when you were talking about, when you were looking for something that had a Charleston, Savannah vibes, like, I hope people are saying, in Savannah, I hope it has a Charleston or Wilmington vibe.
Yes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, as it grows, but what's the biggest change you guys have seen since kind of like, we started opening your first business here in Wilmington itself, and what would you tell people who are not from Cape Fear area that want to come visit?
Really, from what I've seen, just from opening our first escape room location, just the different kind of pockets that have grown. So like the Brooklyn Arts District, for example, or the Cargo District, even where we're located right here on 2nd Street, like none of this used to be here, 8 years ago. So Wilmington is growing at a rapid pace, and there's lots of new businesses, restaurants, things, that are just popping up. So it's definitely starting to become like a destination place, like Savannah and Charleston. It really is. So,
but it also, it also still has like the small town vibe,
for sure.
which is what we really liked about, and I think they can, attest to that. That's why they have multiple businesses here, is because it's a great place to kind of get on your feet and start this, so as Wilmington continues to grow over the next 10 years, it's going to be really cool to see, hopefully we were a big, pillar of what's happening, especially in, the coffee industry or, the hospitality industry, all of that. It's just really cool to see Wilmington grow, but also still you know, we thrive on small businesses. I feel like everybody just supports one another. And that's what I love about Wilmington in particular is that feeling of just
very community driven.
We say that all the time because Josh and I split our time between here and Florida, and we're absolutely obsessed with where we live in Florida, but here it's very much community driven, and that's what we crave and that's what we love. And I love that also Wilmington is starting to develop more kind of quirky businesses or businesses that are, you know, getting a little bit riskier, whereas I feel like, you know, when we first graduated college, there weren't too many of those. I feel like people are willing to take that risk and see if it sticks now, which I'm very excited to see, and hopefully we can grow more of that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's headed that way. I think quirky is like the perfect word. It's like just be different. No one wants the same thing anymore. And that's what we love. So thank you all for being on Cape Fear Calling. And if people want to find you online, where would they find for Instagram and then I guess anywhere else?
Yeah, Hidden Grounds ILM is where you can find us on all of our social media platforms, from Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all that jazz. Yeah, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you are listening or watching and you have been here and you have not yet left a review for them, please leave a review, of course. And thank you guys again.
Thank you.